rate less than 7.6 cents. We got a rate here for a village of Dolton, less than that, and that's key.
But that's for the 3-year contract.
So what?
That's for the 3-year contract.
That,
If I'm a competitive businessman, what would I do?
Mayor, what we'll do, that second or third year, that might look like a very attractive rate. If electrical rates go to 10 cents a kilowatt hour, then we're going to have a great rate for the people. But if ComEd rates
What if
drop,
it doesn't?
if it doesn't, if ComEd rates drop to 6 cents, then you don't have anything. But you have to have a contract, because you can't say next year, well, let's go out and do it. Then it could be 9 cents. You have to make a decision on what you have right now. 2 things the board needs to do, I suggest. Either vote in a rate less than ComEd, which I'm in favor of, or second, notify Integris you want to end the program.
We've notified Integris that we want to end the program. Integris did what they were supposed to do by contract, send those letters out. Some people probably, and I looked at, I caught mine. I wasn't even in it, but I caught mine that they sent out. I think in blanket they sent it to everybody, but it almost looked like advertising, where a person wouldn't even open it and they would throw it in the trash. So that may be a reason why some of these 3,100 are still with Integris, you know, because they really didn't know that what they were getting was an agreement to opt out.
The residents, though, voted to have an aggregation program. The community passed the ordinance, and they passed a referendum. So, I think it's enough, my opinion is, but it's your decision.
It's not my decision, it's the board's
It's the
decision.
board's decision. You have an obligation to give the residents a rate, and you want a rate less than ComEd to be worthy.
Okay.
Because we want to get,
I agree with you.
we want to get away from this.
I agree.
Can I
But,
ask something?
sure you can. But the way this is designed, at this present time, we got ComEd with a smaller rate, a lower rate than all these other individual companies that you have here. But yet he puts ComEd in, you almost can't read it. You need a magnifying glass to read it.
Okay.
That's the fine print. That's almost like deception.
When we have bids in 2 weeks, that number will be the biggest number on here.
Okay.
But if, and in 2 weeks is what we'll have for actual bids for that day. And the village can vote whether to move forward with that contract or not. Fair enough?
Okay, fair enough. But I'm just saying, you have to convince them they're the ones who's going to vote on this issue.
Yes, there was a delivery charge, I believe it is, that was waived with Integris. There was some sort of a fee that was waived that ComEd still charges for their carriers.
ComEd always charges the delivery charge. That's what they get paid to bring the power to us. If Integris had a rate that they waived, I'm not aware of it. Now,
There was something that was waived, I remember. I gotta go back and look, but there was something.
Now, ComEd does charge for the account information in that. We picked that up. Now, if Integris was supposed to have done that 2 years ago, they didn't. Because Stan had a bill that was overdue from ComEd for 2 years that they had to take care of. So I don't think Integris waived that.
There was something that they waived though. I'll have to look at my minutes.
The only thing that you have energy charge, transmission charge, and purchase energy adjustment that are the 3 components of ComEd. When you have a supplier, you only have one rate. You'll have the 3 components, you have the one. That transmission charge is maybe what you're thinking about.
How many companies are actually out there? How many companies are actually out there? You're just representing these 5 companies.
There's about 20. We solicit about 20 bids. This is what we got back for your village.
Okay.
So we, like you, when you do a project, when you competitively bid things
Right.
as a normal process. And that's what we did. We have our RFP
And how often do these rates change?
they're daily. It's just like stock markets or any commodities on the market.
Okay.
Right now, we're headed in the direction, when your other neighbors that you talked about went back, when they did it, the market was higher than ComEd, and they couldn't get any good prices, so they just said, we're going on hold for a year.
And how fresh are these quotes?
These are today.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay.
And your bids in 2 weeks. Now, I won't be here in 2 weeks. My son's having surgery, but I will have the same sheet to scan so that you can look at them. And I'll be available the next morning,
Okay.
if there's any calls, so.
All right.
My only question is, with the ordinance being passed, do we have to provide something for the residents because there was an ordinance?
No,
You don't have to.
no. Those are referendum that agreed if we wanted to do the aggregation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And the referendum passed.
But in the referendum, there was no direct obligation that we're required to have a contract in place.
And I believe that,
Advisory referendum.
Yeah.
I
So-
believe Thornton Township also has something that if you don't have a company, that they do companies for the community. And I don't know what it is.
Which township?
Thornton Township. Thornton Township.
But the townships only have jurisdiction on people in unincorporated areas.
Unincorporated areas.
You have jurisdiction over the incorporated area.
But if they decide not to do it, if we decide not to do anything, can they pick up on the other?
No, they can't, because of the governmental boundary.
Okay. Do we want to get a consensus tonight, or what do you want to do on it?
I say, let's look at it and see what it is.
Okay. Is there any further information you can provide that they may be helpful to them?
If they can, forward it to Mr.
Forward
Rick.
any questions to me, and I'll make sure.
All right, okay. One thing that I might add, it's going to come up for a vote on the second board meeting. One thing I might suggest is that since these rates change daily, you might want to look and check on these daily rates of these companies.
Well, he's gonna give us a sheet
He
on the
will give us
second,
an
right?
update the day before.
I understand that, but that's the rate on that day. So you got 2 weeks to kind of follow the direction of the rates, just like the stock market, to see where these rates are and where they come in, if you're interested.
Could you forward me on a semi-regular, maybe 3 times a week, what the rates are, the changes?
In general, I
for the
can
next
show
couple
them
of weeks?
where the market's at and where it's
Yes.
going.
Right.
But when we do the bid process, we actually send out about a 50-page RFP
Okay.
to the suppliers and request back for a certain date. So they're pulling that data that morning.
Right.
We'll be
You
looking
can
at
change
that.
the next day. All right. Thank you very much.
And thank you for your time. I know you guys are running over.
We're not going to catch this.
We're ready.
Okay, thank you very much. Next thing.
Next thing, we're going to combine, because they are all related, C, D, E, and F. What we've got here, ladies and gentlemen, is a bond counsel is here, Mr. Vince Kinkar, to describe the 1.5 million levy that was issued this past January that helped defer some of the costs for the refuse company's homeward disposal. Mr. Vince has been very creative in the bond counsel world. I will turn it over to him right now. What you've got there, though, are 4 different procedures that if this board wishes to do, we would have to start doing September and October. So, Vince, why don't you give me a short synopsis?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Vince Kankar. As Stanley said, I'm a municipal attorney, but I'm also specializing in bond counsel and financings. I didn't have a chance to meet all of you last year, or earlier this year, when we, at the last minute, put together the deal, the $1.5 million deal on the bond that went on the tax rolls this year. And as you are well aware, there was no increase in the real estate taxes. We have the opportunity to do something similar to that now, and with no increase in the real estate taxes again, because this bond is coming off. We have a chance to put another one on there. One of the problems we've had with Dolton, and I'm sure you've heard so much of this that you're sick and tired of it, but you need to get your audits done. Okay? And until you get your audits done, we have to do what we're going to call creative financing. Because until your audits are done, you can't get a bond rating, and you can't sell bonds in the public market. What we did like last year is we worked with the supplier to do it. This year, our intent is to do a lease agreement, and that will generate approximately $1,400,000, and that money would be used for equipment for all your departments. It would be paid off in 2 years to 2.5 years. And again, I can say at no increase in taxes. All the items you have on the agenda, one is to levy another year's tax for the bond that was issued last year because tax collections are slow and are not at the rate they projected. So we have to raise a little more money to get that done. We have to go with the resolution for putting the lease deals together. They're all related, but it all goes with, if you want the $1.4 million, you have to do this.
I might add to that, I tentatively put in equipment leases for police, fire, public works equipment. This money can be used for infrastructure projects as well. It's just that we won't see the money until next spring. It cannot be used to balance the books because somebody's going to buy the bond. Nobody's going to buy the bond, as Mr. Kinkar just said, because we don't have a credit rating. Who's buying this bond is a lease company, and/or there is a bank out of Sugar Grove that he and I have been talking to that has showed interest in buying the bond. Those are the only two people out there right now that have any interest in buying the bonds.
And we're still at a low interest rate. We're just over 4%. So you're not being punished at all. I mean, we're able to get this done. But like anything else, we need to get it done and we need to move ahead.
This will be on future agenda, as it shows here, there are several different pieces. What I have instructed staff at my last staff meeting was put together a list for squad cars, put together a list for snowplows, chippers, whatever we need in public works, put together what we need in the fire department. I as of yet gotten anything, that was only a week ago that we put that out. I will plan on having those documents for you for the September 2nd to at least review. You don't have to make a decision that day. What we will have to make a decision in the very near future is, do we want to issue this bond out again? That's the big
Let me ask you this. How many places have you solicited to get this bond?
Excuse me?
How many places have you solicited to get this bond?
I personally tried 3, and I've got turned down by 2.
Person trying to, who are those three?
Inland Bank and Chase Bank.
See, banks cannot buy these bonds because you don't have audits.
Right.
That's like FDIC comes in and says,
Why is
what
the bank in Sugar Grove willing to take
They're a
our?
privately owned bank.
Pardon?
Privately owned bank.
Okay.
They answer to 6 board of directors that got more money than God, and they realize it's a payday loan. That's what it is. The money will go directly from the tax collector to them. It won't come into our office.
I was.
At 4%.
4%.
I mean, when you say payday loan, people
No,
think
it's 4%,
30%.
yeah.
Oh, no.
When you say payday loan,
No.
it's
Just
see,
over 4.
No,
I mean, I'm just
4%
saying, just for when you use
That
it,
sounds
like,
very low rate.
Yeah, that,
Yes.
when you say-
4% per year.
When you say
Per annum.
payday loan,
Right.
We almost made me want to say no.
We would be open to any suggestion.
Yeah, I
I mean,
would
the
suggest-
open market, nobody wants
Yeah,
it.
I mean, this is what I do for a living.
Right.
Okay, you cannot walk into MD Financial or Standard Bank or any of these other banks and expect
These are
them.
high-risk banks. These are banks that take on high-risk ventures. That the bank in Sugar Grove, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, but even then they're gonna have, you're probably gonna end up doing it through a lease deal, which is what we proposed, because it's simpler and faster.
And leasing companies are used to
Leasing
doing
companies,
business.
yeah.
They've got a guaranteed payment.
Okay.
Wait, but we do it through the bank, this one in Sugar Grove, would that be free, unrestricted funds, where we don't
No.
have to buy equipment?
No.
We still use have to.
No.
No, because what they'll put is liens against the equipment. That they don't get their money, they got the equipment.
But the money's gonna go straight to them from Cook County.
But as he just said, sometimes
No.
rates are coming in lower. What if they don't get the full amount? They want to get.
Yeah, your real estate tax collections are not ideal, let me put it that way. Your real estate tax collections, after about, towards the end of your collection period, are about 83% or so. And after a year that the taxes are paid, your tax collections are about 87%. Now that is, and you figure your tax collections, if everybody paid their taxes, your collections would be at 105% because the county gets 5%. So, what did I tell you?
So what is this, so,
But I can tell you,
No expires.
there's no increase in the tax levy.
Equipment infrastructure, you have to come with a road project if you want to do.
Do we have this list of petition things that you want to buy?
No, that's why I said I mentioned it to staff at my last staff meeting. They have not gotten anything back to me yet as what does a cop car fully equipped cost? And I don't want to guesstimate, it's got to be a formal proposal. What is a 3/4 ton pickup with a snowplow cost? We need a proposal. So
And so then how that work with then we contact that leasing
leasing
company?
company and say we want
Lease
to
to
buy.
buy, or will we own it? Or
No, the lease is,
say lease to
you're gonna
buy?
run through one company, okay? You don't have to wait till you have your equipment picked out to do the lease. Okay? I mean, it's advisable that you do pass the ordinance approving the lease, that makes the money available, and then it's parceled out when you have 5 police cars or a fire truck or something like that. It's parceled out over a period of time. So,
Then we can use the money to buy for our police cars, or when you say
Yeah.
lease, you mean?
you buy it, it's buying.
Buy, it is buy.
Yeah, it's a lease purchase, it's
So
not,
lease purchase, right?
yeah, that's just a terminology.
The advantage is that about every 2.5 to 3 years, you could start a program of replacing your inventory. So that if, let's say, $1 million, let's say a cop car costs 30 grand, that's a lot of cop cars. You could replace the whole fleet in a year if you bought it, spent $1.5 million or $1.4 million all in 1 year. But a fire truck in turn is $450,000 to $550,000. But you could turn a cop car every 3 to 5 years then, so that they're not breaking down and the maintenance that's killing us right now would be eliminated.
My last question, so this would be kind of like a line of credit of 1.5 million with that bank? And we
Well,
show-
right, with the leasing company, correct.
With the leasing company, and
Right.
we just so we want to buy 5 police cars, we can keep drawing down on that. We don't have to spend all the 1.5.
No, you don't have to spend it all at the same time on one order.
So it's kind of like that. And
It's
anything-
similar to, it wouldn't be any different than a line of credit, that it would be a very good analogy. Let's put it that way.
Like some-
But rates, as everybody knows, rates are really low right now.
It's a very complex item, and Mr. King Carr is very good at what he does, but it's a very simple concept. I mean, it doesn't affect our budget at all, revenue-wise or liability-wise. It just gives us the opportunity to give the tools to the departments that need the tools to function.
Then we can repair buildings, we can't repair the company. You say no like infrastructure?
Repair meaning,
Buildings? No.
yeah,
Roads, you could do.
roads.
I mean, if you were gonna do,
You can
I
repair
would think
buildings too.
a roof.
You need an air conditioner,
I mean,
yes.
so we can fix the roof on this
But-
building with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But there's only so much money.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to prioritize what you need. I mean, like any community, you need to prioritize.
So we will put the documents that need to be voted on the September 2nd board meeting. Before that, we will have another staff meeting tomorrow morning, and I will start hammering home that we need these bids so that we can have an idea, or the board can get an idea what they want to spend the money on.
How long is the contract? A year?
The lease,
The lease?
leases, you're leasing, it would be about 2.25 years, 2.5 years.
Just a little over 2 years.
And that interest rate stays the same?
Yes,
So if we only use 500,000
yes.
and
I'm
2
sure
years
you-
from now we go and take 500 more, interest
Right.
rate is still the same?
Correct.
All right. Any questions, please divert them to me, and then I will get them to Mr. King.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to check me, I do all the financial work for Mayor Denson and Calumet Park, and I do, Bridgeview, I do all Bridgeview. I do like about 30 communities, but out this way, Hazelcrest Park District, I do. You can check with Joe Bertrand over there, or you can go to Fordyce and check with Mayor Griffin. So, I mean, that's what I do in this area, but I do probably 20 of them throughout the county.
Thanks, Gus.
When we get our audits done, we'll be able to do a regular general bond deal?
We're gonna try.
Yeah, yes, you're gonna need to get your audits done, yes, but you're behind on your 11, you're behind on your 12, and your 13 is due.
They're working on
I know that, but I think we've all heard that story.
They
So,
are working on it.
Yeah, I know, but so, yeah, you're 3 years behind on your
Hey, they
audits.
really are working on it.
I believe you, but, you know, yeah, you need to,
I got more accountants than the comptroller's office
Yeah.
right now.
yeah, we're getting there, man.
All right, Vince, thank you for
You're
coming
welcome.
tonight. Okay, next on the agenda is request for proposal for board ups. This was requested by trustee Henyer to put out an RFP. Ms. Fields did this through her office. I believe there were 20-plus bids that were sent out.
Yes.
20-plus bids that were sent out. We received 3 back. They are in your packet. Brief synopsis. For an original call-up, they are all the same price, $60 service charge, includes 1 opening. Where they vary is their additional openings and additional features that they offer. But the initial calls, all 3 of them are at $60. Ms. Fields, you want to give any input on this at all, or?
No, I just recommend that we just take the 3, which is the 3 we've off and on used in the recent years, and rotate them out.
Okay, next time y'all give us this, can y'all put it like on a spreadsheet so we can compare? And you don't have to go through so many pages.
So noted.
Thank you.
That would be helpful.
The next item is home-based daycare ordinances. This was brought forward by Mr. Pearson, Trustee Pearson. Currently, there are no permits on the books or ordinances regulating daycare or home-based daycare or home-based daycare businesses in this village. We have gathered a number of surrounding communities' ordinances. My recommendation is, if you would have read the synopsis, states that I think that South Collins is by far the easiest and I think the most stringent and the most economical. I would be looking for feedback before the September 2nd meeting, when we will have this on the agenda for a formal vote to adopt.
Okay. All right, can we get a consensus that we need regulation in regards to home daycare centers?
Does that make us liable for anything if something doesn't go right?
Either way, it's liable. That's why God made lawyers.
But one thing that we don't have right now is any regulation, and it's all over the board.
I think the regulations, I'm concerned about the fee you guys charging, and some of this I read, some of them say square footage, so I'm concerned with that.
Well,
South Collins was the simplest. It was just a flat fee, if I recall.
Okay.
It was just, if I'm not mistaken, $150.
I think it's 100.
Oh, I got them all in there.
Linwood, Lansing,
I thought some of them was higher.
oh, that's so far. We got Park Forest.
I'll get you one,
So what's that fee?
150.
South Collins? I thought it was higher than that.
I thought it was 100.
I thought it was 240.
As long as it's
We will put together a generic ordinance with a reasonable fee according to our fee structures that we have for other inspections.
I wanna know how many daycare we got in town.
We don't know.
We don't know. That's why we want to put ordinance in place.
Okay.
We have to
Code
register.
enforcement will go around and they see 25 kids playing in this house, so they'll say, hello, you have a license?
And in some cases,
I know what-
and in some cases, they have over the amount of children that they, by state regulations, and there's no fire regulations, and they need to know when they keep these children in these houses, if there's a fire there, how many they're occupied by. So, Chief, what did you want to say?
As of 4 months ago, there was 88 registered with the state home daycares.
In our town.
Dolton?
And some of them,
And like I said,
my concern is some of them
I gotta
have
know, we gotta know
17,
what's going on.
17 children at one
I should have a copy of
facility.
this and
Right.
we gotta have our,
Those are only
you
the
know,
ones
even,
that register.
you know, just little things like a sign lit up at night when the sun changes and it goes down at 4:30. Well, people don't pick up their kids till 5:36. You know, when
10
we're pulling
o'clock
up, we
at
gotta
night.
know what houses, you know,
Right.
there's a lot of things
So
we
when you
look
guys
at.
make the ordinance, you're gonna require that, to put in some type of light,
Something,
saying daycare,
something.
with signage, okay?
And they gotta, like, update how many kids, you know,
One thing I'd like
5
to
kids
see.
may leave, 6 kids may come, we gotta know how many are in there.
Yeah.
We get a fire, and, yeah.
You gotta know
And
what-
I have
There's a
no
couple
idea
of them
that it's a
that you
home
pick 'em up
care,
at midnight.
like I said, 88, how many
There's some
do
that's
that,
overnight.
you know?
Chief,
You know,
if you could put all your thoughts down on paper and send them to me by Wednesday so I can pass them on to the attorney so I can incorporate them into the ordinance.
I think we need some type of regulation. One thing I like to see, and I'm not sure if we put this in there, is the blowing of the horns when it's either drop up or pickup time, rather than going to the door. I mean, I mean, it's like,
At 1 o'clock in the
it's
morning.
really disturbing. I'm not sure if we can incorporate something like that, but it's just, there's a lot that they don't take the kids to the door, they let them out, run to the door, and they blow the horn, you know, or when it comes to pickup, they're blowing horn, kids not ready, they're constantly blowing horns. So, that might, probably some of you have experienced that.
Yeah, my big concern is who is allowed in the house around the children. Sometimes you see drinking on the porch with all these children.